left-wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
One of the most important elections of all time is right around the corner. And soon we'll be selecting our next commander-in-chief. But while the next leader of the free world is being selected, some eligible voters will be staying home on election day. So today we'll go through 5 reasons some people choose not to vote. Reason number 1 is they dislike the candidates. Some folks just don't like either of the available options. And if the choice is between the lesser of 2 evils, they'd rather not vote at all. Do they have a point, Yolanda?
No. No, you do not stay. If you don't vote, guess what? Somebody else is voting for you. And most of us, even in this room, don't agree with every sentiment that a candidate has. So as far as accountability with voting, it holds your elected officials accountable. If we don't vote and you don't have a voice, you don't have that. So that whole complaining, that's out the window. Also, we got to look at policy influence. You want to influence change, then you have to be the change. In order to do so, you have to vote. And no, you don't have to always like everything about the candidate. 9 times out of 10, I don't think anybody does. But you sitting back and just allowing things to happen and then want to complain later and wonder, how did we get here? Well, we got here because enough people are not voting anymore. So you just got to think about it numerically, right? So you got 10 people who vote, 100 people who vote, 1,000, 10,000. Then that really shows us as a country, like what we really want, what we're speaking for. Again, in preventing tyranny. If you've heard right now, that's exactly the route we're going. You just listen, pay attention. You know what I'm saying? If a certain former president wants to become a president again, he wants to be a tyrant, meaning he wants complete control. You sitting back and allowing a candidate not voting and just sitting back and letting things happen. Well, when we are under tyranny, don't say nothing because you would be part of the problem, not part of the solution. So again, no, I don't agree at all. I get you're not going to like everything. You got to listen to policy and how it impacts you. And you're not going to agree with everything with every one of the candidates, but you sitting back and just not allowing and doing anything about it is not the way to go.
Yeah, it's people, think about it like this, man. Some people go to work every day, don't like nobody in that damn job, but they still go to work, And you have to look at politics. You got to understand what politics is, and a lot of people don't understand. They hear politics, they just think of politicians. But politics is the discussions around the division of resources. If you break it down to its basic obligation, what it's doing, they're talking about our shared resources, right? And what we do with them, and that can be in a lot of shape or forms. The only way you have a voice to do that is to vote. You know what I'm saying?
Only way.
And if you give that up, then you're allowing somebody to take your division of resources. You take your part of the cake. You know what I'm saying? Plain and simple. So that's an idiotic way to look at it. The political system ain't built no other way. We nominate 2 people and we elect them. You're not going to always like them. It's just impossible. They're not going to always answer your every need. It's not going to happen like that. But the answer, you not voting, is not going to help you out. And then back to what Yolanda's saying. Then you don't vote, then you ain't got a voice. So be quiet. Shut up.
Sit back. Let the rest of us.
Because you're honestly going to you're honestly letting things happen to you that are going to, that are out of your control now. I can name a lot we could be here all day talking about people who haven't voted. They're going to complain about things and come back and want to say something about it. I got a lot of examples of that, but plain and simple, it's important for your vote. If it wasn't important, one, they wouldn't gerrymander. They wouldn't go out of their way to try to take away your voting rights. They wouldn't do all of that stuff. They wouldn't kill you or kill people for it because people actually died for voting. They wouldn't have charged poll taxes. They wouldn't have made it, and like they still are, making it very difficult for you to vote. If it wasn't important, if it wasn't something that just, it didn't matter. So yeah, man, I mean, it's that important that you cast your vote. And the most important part, Trump wouldn't have been looking for 11,000 of them in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? He would have made that phone call, which he said clearly on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Which is just, that case ain't even, we ain't going to talk about that case even. So.
And just to piggyback, the social change, in order to, we have to think, as far as Black and brown people, when the changes occurred, how do you think they occurred? They occurred through voting. Just like Adrian pointed out, people have died for the right to vote. They are trying to suppress your vote. We wouldn't be going through those type of changes if they weren't important. So just keep that in mind.
Well, they killed Kennedy because he wanted to give it to us. They killed King because he made it happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And what about our future generations? So what are you doing when you sit back? So what are you telling your kids? It's not important.
Our kids don't. That was a long time ago. They don't. Our kids don't. That's a long time ago. That's ancient news. But what they don't know and understand, and I know this is another show, and I'm not going to get off topic, but you understand if they take abortion right back to 1864, they can go back and take away the voting rights the same way.
Do everything. Mm-hmm.
That was not a given. That's not in the Constitution. That's something they had to amend. And just like they had to do that with Roe versus Wade, they had to do that for the voting rights. So you think they're coming for the voting rights next, you're wrong. So that's how important voting is, man. You got to make sure that you own that and understand that. So, there you go. I don't know what else I can tell you on that if you just being blind to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the number 2 issue that people have to say that they don't vote is policy issues. So people feel that the policies being discussed by the candidates won't help them in the long run or have an immediate impact on their lives. What do you say to that, Ace?
Well, I mean, yeah, once again, that kind of falls in the line of not voting. Policies affect you directly. Once again, you vote, you either voted for Trump or you didn't vote for him, but he got in there. He got to put in the Supreme Court justices that he wanted. The first thing they did when they got the majorities, they took away Roe versus Wade. So now you have women in Texas and in other states that if they're having medical implications due to a pregnancy, they can't get an abortion and they might lose their life. Because why? Yeah, and the Supreme Court, the person that you voted in or didn't vote in or whatever the case may be, got in there and changed this and put these people at risk. So if you're a young lady, who's maybe doesn't want to have babies right now, and you in Texas, you got to go out of state if you got to get an abortion. They're trying to take that away. So policy definitely affects you all across the board. Like I said, we can get into what the candidates are doing or not doing, but you do need to understand that if you are on whatever side you are looking at a policy, you need to definitely make sure that you vote and you be part of the process.
Definitely agree. I went and asked, I was asking just family members, additional, when you talk about policy issues, what does that mean to you? So I would sit back and ask yourself, does the economy impact you? Yeah. Does education impact you? Yeah. Does your healthcare, are you concerned about that? Does that impact you? Yeah. Does environment and the climate change and what's happening and shifting, it's now actually impacting insurance. Like if you ask Florida, does that impact you? Yeah. National security, does that impact you? Do you want to go outside and not think a bomb's going to drop on your head? Yeah, that impacts you. Immigration, does that impact you? We talk about that every day. Whether you feel if it's a negative or a positive way, immigration impacts you. That's a policy. And last, social issues. Do those impact you? Do you like your rights? Your inalienable rights, right? Whether you're black, brown, regardless of your sexual orientation, does those things impact you as a human being? Yeah. So when you look at policy issues and when you're voting, all those things that I just stated are impacts and they will, it's a direct impact on you as a person individually. So sitting back and not addressing those issues impacts you. And that's why you vote.
Yeah, let me jump on this real quick. And when a lot of people say impact, a lot of times they're talking about what immediately impacts them in their life. Well, most people don't vote in local elections.
They impact you.
That's what impacts you the most.
Right.
They look at, and it's funny, a lot of times they'll argue about the president. Well, the president don't do this. Cardi B, one of my favorite influencers out there that I like, actually went in and said, yeah, you know what? The president, he's not building libraries and stuff like that. He's sending money to Ukraine and all that. Well, that's what presidents do. Mm-hmm. Your mayor and your governor handles that stuff. Mm-hmm. Your local state representative and your city council person handles that stuff and that money. But a lot of times we don't even participate in those referendums or those local elections. So not only are we looking at the national right now, but not only are we looking at the national and maybe what we're talking about impact, we're actually not even looking at it. We should be more involved in local elections if we really want to feel the impact that's going to affect us on a day-to-day basis. Now, when you're talking about the national election, what they're going to do is probably going to affect you in the long run, i.e., Biden's right now doing like an infrastructure bill or an Inflation Reduction Act bill. Well, he's in office right now. So that bill is you're probably not going to feel the effect of that until 4-5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. It may be something that's going to help you out in the future. You know what I'm saying? Just like when Obama did the healthcare thing. When he first did it, I didn't even like it. I was like, man, this didn't lower my healthcare none. But what happened? A few years later, a couple more years later, it did. And I was like, oh, now I got better options. I got it now. It doesn't happen immediately. So a lot of that's the education on what your vote's going to do on a local level and on a national level.
Definitely agree.
Yeah. So reason number 3 that people choose not to vote is voter apathy. So many people feel like their vote is a drop in the ocean and it's unable to sway the tides of political power. They simply feel that their vote just doesn't make a difference. So is this true, Ace?
I mean, ask Trump. I mean, he looked for 11,000 of them. So it makes a difference. And once again, just real briefly, your vote, it influences the electoral college. You know what I'm saying? When you go out and vote, it influences electoral college. The electoral college, it elects a president. So it does count. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of y'all looking at it as minute. This one vote ain't gonna hurt anybody. Yeah, it will. You know what I'm saying? Be honest with you. Yeah, it will. It's got to be more. It's got to be. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's a bucket that needs to be filled. And you got to make your presence known. So yeah, it does count. And I just think it's part of your civic duty, just to do that. Just as a grown up, just to if you're gonna be part of the political process, that's the way you voice your opinion. So yeah, it counts. So a lot of people, it doesn't count or whatever the case may be. It does. If it didn't, they wouldn't have been looking for 11,000 votes. They wouldn't be out here, every day spending all this money on these campaigns, because they put big money in those campaign ads. To influence your vote is very important.
Definitely agree. I'm talking layman's terms. So take yourself back to high school, right? So you want running for prom king and queen. What are y'all out there doing? Campaigning, right? Why do you campaign? Because you need the votes. And people win prom king and queen by 2-3 votes, maybe 1 vote. It's important, and every vote matters. And I know it's in the scheme of things because you see it's such a large population that you can't see it. Just take yourself back to high school. It was important to those people to win prom king and queen or whatever other superlatives. They campaigned for a reason. They asked for your money for a reason. Like you said, Trump's looking for votes for a reason because it does matter. Every vote counts every day.
I won most likely to succeed. You see how that turned out.
You are very successful, sir.
Hey, so I'll tell you what will make people successful. It'll make us successful.
Yes.
Clicking on that like button. So
we need your vote.
Yes, we need the damn vote through likes. Thank you.
And don't be apathetic about it either.
That's right. Don't have any apathy. Just click it. Stick it. Now, if you're enjoying this content, please make sure that you like this video. And if you want to see more conversations like this, make sure that you share it on all your social platforms and subscribe to Left Wing Kings. So the number 4 reason why people choose not to vote is they're too busy. The hustle and bustle of everyday American life hits hard. So with work, family, and the myriad of responsibilities that we juggle every day, finding time to vote can feel like it's just another task that people have to complete. What's your take, Rolanda?
I have no empathy. None. I work 10 to 12 hours a day, daily, okay? And I got to take care of this man over here afterwards.
You're damn straight.
Yeah. So
Dinner better be on the table.
No, don't go there, bro.
Yeah.
It ain't like that.
I already know. I know how y'all roll. I'm playing with you, man. I'm playing with you. I know how y'all roll.
You're never too busy what you value, right? You're never too busy what you value for. So again, like, do you have to schedule it? Yes. Do we have to make time? Yes. You make time to eat. You make time to celebrate people's birthdays and anniversaries. Just put it on your list. They're just as important, if not more so, because again, it directly impacts you and your family and your kids and your kids' kids and so forth. So yeah, I have no empathy for that because again, I work so long and I have how many hours of the day, but you can actually, there's other things. And again, that's why they're trying to suppress it, right? So you got mail-in voting, early voting. That's why they supply that. They give you about 2 weeks notice. And they normally do it 7 to 7, right? Because they know most people work. So you just got to carve in that time. You carve in time for everything else. So yeah, I have no empathy for the whole apathetic and I'm too busy situation. We're all busy. Everybody busy.
Hey, let me hit it from this angle. I mean, that's what they want you to do.
Yeah.
You know, a non-vote is a vote. That's what you got to understand. And I'll be honest with you, man. The Republican Party is counting on your non-vote. Yeah. That is a vote for them. You know, I'm not the numbers guy when we sit here, but I know this for a fact that statistically, when you have more voters, more Democratic people win.
That is correct.
You know, when you have non-voters, Republican people win.
Yeah.
Now, if I know that, and you know, correct. And I skated out of high school, I'm a C- student. They barely got out. You don't think these Republicans and these guys that went to Harvard and all that don't know that and come up with a strategy to do that? They know if they make it harder for you to vote, you won't vote. That's why they don't want to give you water when you're in the line and you can't eat anything. That's why they create a line in the first place. Yep. It don't take that long to vote. Why they make it so hard to vote? Why they only got like 1 or 2 booths, you know what I'm saying, when they go there, you know what I'm saying? Why they always put it in somewhere crazy like a library? Why they put it in an auditorium where a whole bunch of people could get down there and the parking could be right and everything? You know, all those come into play, man, because at the end of the day, end of the story, they don't want to make it easy for you. Well, they don't want to make it easier for me. It must be pretty important, right? You know what I'm saying? It must carry some power if that's the case. So understand that your non-vote is a vote. It's just for the vote for the guy probably that you don't want. Mm-hmm. So when you're sitting up there 4 years and you wonder why, God dang, you know, my money ain't right, you know, or whatever. Or let's hit more important facts. My child's going to war or something like that may be real big and I don't agree with what's going on. Well, remember the point when you didn't make it important to go vote. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's important for you to get out there and get that done. You know, people make time for things they want to do.
That's true.
And excuse me. And it's a lot of things that people bullshit and do and they make time for. You talk about voting, that's something that you just got to get up, get off your ass and go do, plain and simple. Don't make any excuses with it. And if you do, say la vida. You know what I'm saying? See la vie.
All right. So with that being said, I guess we'll jump into number 5. So number 5 reason that people don't vote is there are too many systemic barriers. So from complicated registration processes to restrictive voting laws, these hurdles can discourage or outright prevent people from casting their vote. Ace, do you agree?
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit on number 4. They don't try to make it easy for you. You know what I'm saying? They don't. They hire the oldest people in the world to work the booths. They be taking a long damn time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's me messing. You know, that's me messing with them though. But nonetheless, man, no, there's a reason to the madness. You know, and there's powers that be that like it that way, and they go out and pass laws to do that. Right after Obama got elected and then Biden got elected, they really went and attacked the laws on what you can do to vote. You know what I'm saying? And when COVID hit and they knew they were going to do mail-in voting because people weren't, you know, gathering like that, they really attacked that and tried to make that a thing. And they want to say that it was cheating and it was this and it was that. And then they didn't want to count the mail-in votes. And a lot of military people overseas do mail-in votes. Mm-hmm. So they were really, and that was crazy because those are usually Republican votes. I don't know why they were attacking that. But so it was just like, yeah, you know, there's a power out there that knows your non-vote's not a vote. And they're really trying to put things in place to make sure that you don't enjoy your voting, the voting process. And they don't make it easy. It ain't like they're out there and they, you know, they got a live band out there and, you know, they got booths. You know what I'm saying? Like they can make voting really cool. And the funny part about it, historically, voting used to be a day off. Mm-hmm. Election day used to be a holiday. And they used to have parties around it and all that stuff. So it used to be like that. When they found out people were enjoying it too much and not voting the way they wanted to, they made it hard and made it ugly. So you wouldn't want to go down there. Why did they do that? Because they knew that you not voting, they could take these resources that they're allocating and they can keep them for themselves. The rich can get richer. You know what I'm saying? Because you're giving your power away.
Definitely agree. And just like you said, I want to touch on that. So some places now do allow for a day off for voting, again, because they know that it's important. And guess who they are? The educators. Isn't that interesting? Like there's some places that do allow for you to be able to vote. So you have to understand like the why behind and the suppression that goes along with it. Like you said, the no water. Like why would that be why would anybody vote for not being to have water in the line? Like water is going to tell you who to vote for. Water is an inanimate object. It don't talk to you and tell you how to vote. So you have to understand like what is in place and why they're putting those things in place. Because like you said, that non-vote does count. And as research does show that the more people who vote typically do vote Democratic versus Republican. And you got to understand it's called a democratic process. So I'm not going to give you a definition, but go look it up and have a better understanding of what that actually means for everybody. Everybody prospers versus just a select few prospering. So you just got to look and see. And again, the suppression is real in certain areas. Older people, they can't stand in line, right? I mean, we understand that. When I'm 85, it's going to be difficult for me to vote. So that's why we have mail-in voting. But they'll cry that there's people voting 2-3 times. Does that happen? Yes, but it's less than 1%. People are not out there committing a voting crime, guys. That's not the type of crime that people commit. Okay, they may murder, they may steal, but the whole steal a vote thing is not what most people are doing.
Yeah, most people don't want to vote once. They don't want to vote once.
They don't want to vote at all. So here we are, So just understand, like, some of these reasons are just, again, reasons, and they really don't hold water. We got to understand, like, the long-term ramifications for not voting.
Yeah, and I mean, just think about it. We're in Texas, and Texas got that stupid no water rule, right? And Georgia.
And they know it's hot.
I mean, and it's hot there. That's a health risk.
Yeah, you're killing
That is truly a health risk in Texas. If you outside voting in Texas and it's hot and you stand in line, because most of the time that line runs outside. It ain't inside. And it's hot. They talking about somebody going to bring you water that's going to influence your vote. Like, really? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this? Is this Jesus days or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, these slavery days, you got to, somebody going to walk around with a ladle of water and shit in a pack, go follow the North Star and shit. What we on the Underground Railroad and shit? Like, come on, dog. Yeah. Like, but in Texas, that's really a health risk, man. You put in, like you said, especially if you're elderly, especially if you got pre-existing conditions, stuff like that.
It's dangerous.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just, they know what they're doing.